Cole Fine Guns and Gunsmithing, your one-stop shop for everything fine European shotguns. Visit us on the web at www.colegun.com.
Today we have 4 different facilities around the United States where we sell specifically shotguns and do gunsmithing work. We don't sell handguns, we don't sell rifles, we do shotguns. And we do a variety of shotguns, principally Italian shotguns because of my experience being trained by Rodeo and working in Italy. That's what I know. I'm a believer in you do what you do well and stay in that vein. If I want to learn something different, that's fine, but I'm not interested in doing things that I'm not capable and competent in doing. And what I have found as the stock making aspect of my business this week, and I've really been surprised, and I don't want to, not from a condescending manner, but I've been surprised at the lack of knowledge that many shooters have. I mean, even fairly experienced shooters about gun fit, the way that a shotgun should fit the shooter. And we're going to talk a little bit about gun fit. I'm going to try and keep it really, really simple. I speak relatively quickly because I'm a Yankee. Please don't hold that against me. I have come all the way down here to Texas to be of service. So what y'all are paying me out of this today is what I'm getting out of it. So, and you're not paying me. And I don't want to get paid.
You're not getting paid?
What's that?
You're not getting paid?
I'm getting the reward of having the opportunity to be of service.
That's right.
So why does gun stock fit matter? I mean, that's what we're going to talk about. Why does it matter? Okay? And we're going to talk about the elements of well, it's not fun for them. They're not going to want to continue to do it. So we want to make sure that we're doing what we can do to make our shooter comfortable. Okay? If the shooter has proper gun fit, they're going to be able to learn proper technique. Okay, proper technique is important because it's part of being able to be comfortable. If a shooter doesn't have the right kind of technique in terms of mounting the gun, they're going to take more recoil. They're not going to shoot really well. It's not a fun thing for them. The other aspects of this are and this becomes a little bit ethereal, the dynamics of the gun. What are the dynamics of the gun? The dynamics of the gun mean that if the gun is set up properly in terms of the barrel length relative to its stock length, the weight sort of between the hands, the shooter is going to be able to develop a good gun mount. And then when they move the gun feels like it's sort of become an extension of their hands. And therefore we call it very dynamic. If these things come together, then we end up with an increase in performance. Primarily inexperience and improper gun is we see a lot of shooters standing with their weight towards their heel forward. Okay? That's a fine way to shoot a rifle, one shot at a time at a static target. That's not going to be a successful mount to shoot a moving target. Okay? We want the shooter to get their nose over their toes. We want them to get forward into the gun. Okay? There's a big difference in my movement and the athleticism of my field here as opposed to that here. Okay? So what we see oftentimes is because the loving parents buy adult guns for their child, and then they say, well, we'll whack the stock off to shorten it up for them a little bit. What they've created is a gun with horrible dynamics that's very heavy on the front end, and this young individual has no choice other than to try and be back here in order to hold the gun. Okay? So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to show you some photos of some really, really good, well-fitted guns and well-developed gun mounts with some of the world's finest shooters. And what we like to do is point out certain aspects here so that you can start to identify these aspects in your shooting. Okay? The thing that we're going to talk about, which is the single most important gun stock up here, what I'm going to use in order to identify what her correct length of pull is that we're going to adjust the length of the stock until we can kind of get her right arm at about a 90-degree bend. right here. 90 degrees, that's what we're looking for, okay? Now, I want to dispel the myth, which is, again, tribal knowledge that Gil was talking about. So often we see shooters, parents, coaches sometimes taking and putting their fingers here and making a measurement here and saying, yeah, that's just right. No, that's just wrong, okay? That does not work. That's incorrect. We do not care how much distance there is between the shooter's knuckle, okay, and their nose, okay? Old wives' tale, forget about it. Take it out of the equation. We are looking at the bend in the elbow right here, okay? That's what we're looking at. The other thing that we want to start to identify and encourage in a mount, and you start to get this with the nose over the toes, is that the heel of the gun, which is this back portion back here, is able to drop down in the pocket of the shoulder below the collarbone. Okay, it's not up here, up on top of their shoulder. Let's do the next one again. Okay, here's a lady right here who's got a stock that's really too short for her. Okay, and if you know what's happening here, she's really crunched up front here, and look at the angle of her wrist. The gun comes straight back. The recoil is far more manageable if the shooter has a good mount technique. Okay. Again, the elbows. Looking at these elbows, 90 degree bend. Right, next one, Gil. Okay, Jonathan Henrici. Okay, 90 degree bend. Kind of a heads up mount. And now you'll notice that he's shooting a flat rib gun. He's got a little bit of a Monte Carlo. He's putting the butt down into his shoulder just a little bit. And I think that's the last one, isn't it, Gil? Let's go to our next one. Okay, I'm going to just give you a real quick thing on gun stock anatomy, because you need to understand a little bit about the gun stock in order to be able to talk intelligently with anybody about making any kind of adjustments or sorting something out. So we talked about the length of pull, which is from the center of the trigger to the center of the butt. When we start talking about the drop, the amount of drop that the stock has, we talk about the nose of the comb and the heel of the comb. And then we start talking about cast, okay? And the cast is basically a movement of the stock away from the shooter's face, okay? If the stock doesn't have any cast, okay, the shooter needs to roll their head this way, and we don't want to do that. We want to keep our eyes as level as we possibly can. Try and keep the eyes, the ears, even with the gravitational force. You'll note, if you just try this, turn your head this way and walk around, and you'll notice that your equilibrium is affected in a negative manner, okay? And people say, well, why do you have to bend the stock away from your face? Because we don't have eyes like a lizard. You know, our eyes are not sitting on the side of our head, okay? And if we want to be basically looking out across the gun from the center line of the rib, the wood needs to go away from our face just a little bit, because we want to keep our eyes level, turn our nose in slightly, as opposed to roll our head over top of the gun like this. Okay, so that's cast. Cast is a very subtle dimension. It can be a very important dimension if you don't have enough cast.
For more information on our lineup of Berettas, Parazzis, Zolis, Blaser, and other fine European shotguns, visit us on the web at www.coldgun.com. You can see more videos like this on our YouTube channel, and you can also join in on the conversation on our Facebook page at Cold Gunsmithing Inc.